Well, good evening. You're listening to Crash Talk. I'm Mike Harbour, your host. Thank you so much for joining in with us tonight. It's always a pleasure. I hope there's some new tidbits I can give you, some information that's useful. And while we're live, this is live, you can send messages to me and we'll try to take a look at those and see if we can answer them during the show. But you can send questions to me anytime if you go to CrashTalk.com. So I'm getting terrible feedback. So anyway, we've got a question that came in that was really a good question. Before I do that, let me read the disclaimer. As I don't know, got to make sure I do what the big guys tell me. So none of the information provided by me, Mike Harbour, or anything that's included in Crash Talk this evening or anytime is intended to be, or should it be construed as legal advice or the interpretation of law. Consumers with questions on matters of law should consult with a licensed attorney. Any information from or opinions expressed by yours truly, our Crash Talk, our guest on Crash Talk, are intended solely as the resource to consumers, and all such information should be verified by a licensed practicing attorney. And I think I've said before, we work with attorneys all over the country. If you need an attorney, you can ask for a reference from us. We're certainly willing to do that. So let me read this. Let me read this question that came in and comment. I really appreciate. This is from Dan. I won't give any other information other than that, but this is a live, true call-in. It says, "I love your YouTube channel. I wish I had the sound effects now because I'd like to hear some applause. I forwarded your emails to my friends and other attorneys' office." That's why we're doing this. We're doing this for you. We're doing this to give information, to help you, and I'm going to get into a little bit more of that tonight. And hopefully there's some good pieces of information that will be useful. But the question then from Dan says something he's never experienced before. We just got a response from let's see, how am I supposed to do this? From the Lizard Insurance saying that they can't give us a diminished value settlement because our client's vehicle, the history shows that it was a fleet vehicle or had rental background. Is this true? This is something that I've never heard of. Do I know about this? Well, my answer, and I'm going from memory, my answer is this is a typical throw something up on the wall, and you know what you throw on the wall, and see if it sticks. Because diminished value is based on value. It's not based on the fact that the vehicle history says it was a fleet vehicle or a rental vehicle or it had a prior accident. None of that makes any difference. It's about value. So it's just one more of those things to where I believe they will try anything to underpay a claim. And it sounds like we have somebody flying over. Maybe it's one of our listeners wanting to chime in. So what I wanted to talk about tonight was kind of a question that's a kind of a general type of question. It's, well, who are you? What is Harbour Appraisal? What is a public adjuster? And it's funny, I was having this conversation yesterday, and I kind of changed topics for tonight, because when we are representing a consumer in a claim with their insurance company, when we first started doing this years ago, we had the insurance companies coming back to us saying, well, who are you? What is it you're trying to do? We've already settled the claim for their injuries. And then they'll respond back to me, Harbour Appraisal Law or Harbour Law. Well, we're not attorneys. We're public adjusters. And the reason I guess the insurance companies don't even know who we are or what we do is that we're the only one. And that's kind of a favorite saying from years ago, where the insurance companies would come in and say, well, you're the only one that does that. You're the only one that wants to repair a vehicle that way. You're the only one. Well, now I'm the only one, but it's changing. There have been a couple other people that have gotten licensed within the state, and even within our own company, there are 3 licensed public adjusters at Harbor Appraisal. And our emphasis is to work with consumers, is to work with you. And so that's a little bit what I wanted to go into tonight, and kind of explaining, well, who we are, what we do, so that there isn't any confusion out there. And, well, why? The question is, well, why is it necessary to have a public adjuster? If I bought insurance, certainly my insurance is going to take care of me, right? I mean, I'm in good hands. I'm a friend of the family. I'm a good neighbor. So how did all this start? So let's kind of go back. Let me tell a story. So, and I don't want to go too far back because I don't want to bore everybody to tears, but I was a real estate broker and had a office full of people, and we were doing a lot of different type of transactions, and somebody presented me a body shop that it was a great opportunity. So long story short, I ended up with a body shop. It took about 2 years owning a body shop. In my background, I've always been a mechanic. I've always done a lot of that type of stuff. Never really did body work. And I ended up with a body shop, and it didn't make sense to me. I could not figure out how a customer would come to me to fix their car, but I've got somebody over here saying, well, we don't pay for that. We're not going to pay for that. And it's just like, well, wait a second. What are you doing interfering in the relationship I have with my customer? And that's kind of how things got started, and went down this road and realized that I had a tiger by the tail in the collision repair industry. I owned one of the largest shops in Tacoma for 25 years. And believe me, I got an education. One of my favorite sayings is education is never cheap. I was in school for that portion of my life, learning about what I do today for 25 years. And believe me, not only was it time consuming and frustrating and stressful, but it was also very expensive. But I got a good education. And in 2012, instead of selling my business to the people that were in the back pocket of the insurance companies, I couldn't bring myself to do that. So we closed the business. Fortunately, I own the real estate, and I was going to retire in 2012. It didn't take very long. People started coming out of the woodwork. Attorneys, consumers, people that knew me, asking for help. They didn't know what to do in the situation with a claim, in a collision claim, an auto claim. They just didn't know. They needed somebody to give them answers. So one thing led to another. I'm not retired. As a matter of fact, probably busier now than I've been in many years. And we've got an office full of people and many customers. I believe at last count, we've got 93 law firms that refer people to us on property damage claims. So what happened is I recognized, as I started trying to help people with these claims, that there must be some licensing requirements. I'm a real estate broker. I'm still a real estate broker. I have to have an educational requirement, continuing education. I have to have a license with the state, and I have to answer to somebody if there's a complaint. And it's just like, well, how can I get involved in this without some kind of a license? Well, that's going to be a topic for another night, because that's a whole fiasco in itself. And what's going on out there in the marketplace, over the last several years, there's been some real changes, and I think I have been pretty instrumental in stirring it up. So, but let me tell another story. And I love to fish. I really do. I really love to fish. And one of my very good friends, Mike, is a fishing genius. Actually was a guide for years. And we've been fishing together on a number of occasions and gone to a new location. And I said, well, Mike, how do you know how to fish here if you're normally fishing out in Puget Sound? How do you know if we go to a different location what to do? And what he told me I thought was interesting, because here's a guy that I would look up to as the expert on fishing. He said, when I go to a new area, I hire a guide that knows the local water. I go out with him for a day and I pay him a fee. And I learn the tricks. I know where to fish, how to fish, what lures to use, what bait to use, the whole thing. And he said, and I get an education. And then I can go out on my own in a new area, because every area is different. And I've thought about that. And that's a little bit like what we do. It's just like I also love football. And I am not quite up to all of the rules and the strategies behind football. I played when I was in college, but I don't want to tell you how long ago. That was a few years ago. Things have changed a lot. But I know the basics and I enjoy football. But have you ever been to a cricket game? You talk about being bored to tears. It makes no sense at all. And the point I'm trying to make is that if you don't understand the game, if you don't know the rules of the game, you don't have a chance. So just like learning how to fish or watching your favorite sporting event, you got to know the rules. So there are rules in claims, insurance claims. And again, if you don't have one, you could care less. But chances are, the statistics say that one in every once in every 7 years, you're going to be involved in some kind of an accident. And unfortunately, I've had a bunch of customers that it seems like they've had a lifetime fill within a year or two. Are you prepared for that? One of the other sessions I thought we should have is Insurance 101, to talk about what do you need to look for. One of our, I think episode number 1, I talked about the one thing that you need to do now, and that's make sure you have uninsured motorist protection, property damage protection on your policy. Do it today. Don't wait. But we're here. We're public adjusters. We're experts on the matters that have to do with property damage and insurance claims and connecting the dots. And we're here to help you. So it's like you're starting, if you have an accident, you're on a new journey and you need a guide. You need somebody that knows how to navigate and maneuver through a claim. Because I hate to say this, the adjuster on the other side, or your adjuster with your own company, they have one thing to do: save money for their company. Now, they're going to try to be fair, but they're going to lean towards their job, and that's to keep costs down. Ask, if you go to a body shop that is not in the back pocket of an insurance company, and you ask them if the insurance companies pay them fairly and if they get everything that they need in order to do a proper repair without arm wrestling about it, I think you're gonna get an earful. So one of the things I would say, a majority of the people that contact us will start out by saying, I've never done this before. I've never had an accident before. I've never heard of diminished value. I've never heard of a DRP. I've never heard of first party, third party claims, all the different jargon that goes along with insurance claims. You got to know the rules. You got to understand in order to play the game, especially if you want to, I don't know if I want to say win, but at least get a fair settlement. So when we did the old CrashTalk, and that was in the early 2000s, the purpose of that, just like now, was to provide information, to get information out there to the consumers so they understand what's going on. We're here to answer questions. We don't charge. If you want to just call us and ask us a question, what to do, how do we do this, we give free information out all the time, and we always will. But when we did the old show, the old Crash Talk, it was a live call-in talk show on radio. And one of the things that I referred to quite regularly, got to be a little thing for me, was dealing with the playground bully. And I don't know how many people have had to deal with bullying when you were growing up. You remember somebody that wanted you to give them your lunch money? And it was really an uncomfortable feeling if you didn't know how to defend yourself or you couldn't defend yourself. So we're here to help level the playing field. We're here to help let you understand what your rights are. And that's the purpose of this Crash Talk. And we're going to continue to do this, I guess, as long as I'm able. And as soon as my associates step up and offer to come in and do a few of these. But I need to know from you, what are some of the questions you have? And I know sometimes it's like me with some of the technical things, the digital stuff. Sometimes I don't even know what question to ask. And I realize that a lot of times consumers are the same way. They'll call us and they'll say, well, we need an appraisal. Well, okay, let me ask some questions. Let me find out a little bit more about what you're doing. But here's one takeaway I want to give you tonight. And I hope you take this to heart, because an insurance company is going to make it sound so convenient. It's just like the best thing since sliced bread. If you go to our shop, we're going to take care of everything. We're going to take care of you. Believe me, they will take care of you. Matter of fact, Monday, we're doing an inspection Monday on a vehicle that was repaired at one of those shops, and we're going to try to help unravel the mess. It's much harder to do it after the fact than doing it right. We did a little brochure, and we don't charge for these. We actually give them out. I don't know if that's even how legible that is on the screen. One of my associates designed this. It's great. Car wreck, the things that you're thinking about, and then down here it says your solution begins with the right shop. How do you know what the right shop is? Well, I think I can safely say, if it's the one that the insurance company is recommending, that's not the right shop. It's your choice. That's state law. You get to choose where repairs are going to be done on your vehicle, and the safety of your family depends on it. You want to make the right decision in the beginning, and then you can rest at night that you're going to be properly taken care of. Your car's going to be repaired correctly, and then we can look at some of the other issues that may be involved with your claim. The other takeaway I want to give you tonight, and I'm going to need to take a minute or two to explain this, because somebody calls, never been in an accident before. I don't understand what's going on. The other people have accepted liability. Their insurance company said that they're going to handle the claim. Well, stop and think about this for a minute. What the at-fault party that damaged your property, if they have insurance, what is that insurance company trying to do? Their job is to protect their insured. They're not there for you. They're there to settle the claim, to make it go away as fast as possible. And property damage does have an impact on an injury claim if you're injured. Now, I hope nobody takes that out of context. You don't try to overstate or overreach on a claim. But if you're hurt and your car gets repaired at a shop that just makes it look better on the outside, and there's still remaining structural damage that's not addressed, frame damage has an impact on the value of your injury claim. I hope you understand that, and I hope you understand it correctly. I'm not suggesting you overstate or you try to make anything out of it, but it does affect your injury claim. And you want to make sure, if there is structural damage, that somebody's looking out for your best interest and they know how to repair it. Another one of the sessions that we'll have to talk about is what goes on behind closed doors in body shops, especially the body shops that are saving money for an insurance company. How do they save money for an insurance company? So let me just see if I've got any other issues that I wanted to try to bring to you tonight. And like I said, if you've got questions, if anybody has something that they would like to ask, or they'd like clarification, they need help. Other people have the same questions. Please send me a question. Please ask some questions. Please give me a recommendation on what kind of topics you'd like to see on our show. I think it looks like we're kind of into the season now where I may be conducting our Crash Talk little webinars here in the my open air office here in Graham, and it looks like the mountains out there behind us. It's a beautiful evening here in the Northwest, and hopefully this has been good and you picked up the two main points. One, you use, well, you know what? I didn't get to that. See, I lost it. When you have a claim, instead of using the at-fault party, even though they've accepted liability and they're working for their insured, you want your insurance company to handle the claim. Now, when you turn the claim into your insurance company, you've got a deductible to pay. You can ask the at-fault party's insurance company to advance your deductible, and you can ask them to go ahead and pay for your rental while repairs are taking place. Should be no problem. There's a certain level of cooperation. As long as you're being polite and cooperating, ask them to do that, turn the claim into your insurance company, and let them know that's what you're doing. You have more rights using your company. You've paid a premium for the indemnification, for the coverage, and you're better off because they have a duty of good faith and fair dealing to you. The other insurance company does not have that duty. So understand, it doesn't affect your rates because your company then, after they pay the claim, they're going to go to the other insurance company and they're going to get their money back. So you're always better off with your own insurance company for the property damage portion of your claim than using the other party. So those are the two takeaways tonight. Find a shop that works for you, that's not lined up with an insurance company. And then the second thing is always make sure you're using your own insurance company. We'll talk about my 3 rules next week. Also, we've got a Facebook page. If you want to chime in, ask questions, you can go to Harbor Appraisal on Facebook, or go to CrashTalk.com to connect right into the show. The episodes now, we've got our own channel. But send me questions. I mean, let me know. Let me know if this has been good and the wind's starting to kick up, getting a little bit of cool air coming in. So with that, I'm going to say it's been another good evening. I hope you enjoyed it. We'll see you same time, same place next week. Thank you very much.